Welcome students to the subject Computer Fundamentals, and in the previous class we have discussed about the third generation computers, and we have discussed about how the concept of integrated circuits was started, and later on after 1975 major important innovation was started, and the concept of microprocessor was started. So let us discuss the important technologies and the hardware and software development that took place in the fourth generation, and let us understand the different characteristics of the fourth generation computers. The early 90s, or the years from 1975 to 1989, can be called as the fourth generation, and the concept was same that we had understood in the third generation, where we started using the integrated circuits, and where we can integrate different components, electronic components like resistors and capacitors and other things. The concept was remained same, but the technology, the advancement took place, and we had some new concepts like VLSI technology, and the concept of microprocessor was started, and the capacity of storage devices and the speed of primary devices like RAM was also increased, and we started using some external storage devices like floppy disks were started, and the people started calling these computers as personal computers, and so on. From the software perspective, we started using the GUI based interface, and this was the major change that happened in this generation, and because of this most people started using them, using the computers, and it was easy for them to understand the computer terminologies and to learn the computers. And also different operating system were started, and one among them is the Unix operating system, and different programming languages were also started, and the concept of object oriented programming was started, and also we started using the networking, which was not present, and we started developing the supercomputers. So these are the some important hardware and technologies that we used in this generation. So now let us go in detail and understand these important things. Now let us understand by looking at these images. If you compare the earlier generation and the third generation, we have used the integrated circuits, and we used other components to club them or to integrate all these components on the silicon surface. So the concept was same, but we use the small scale integration and medium scale integration in the third generation, but in case of fourth generation we started using the large scale integration, where we could mount or we could club thousands of or millions of these different types of components, electronic components, and we started the concept of very large scale integration. So almost on a silicon surface or a silicon chip, we could use or we could club almost 30,000 small electronic components. So that is why we call this generation as the very large scale integration. That means we can different types of components in very large number, we could integrate them. So this is the concept of very large scale integration. This progress led to the development of what we call it as the microprocessor. So if you observe this image or this image, if you can just observe this is a very small chip which consists of very minute pins, and this is the main core of the computer system, or the present computers also that we are using, or these also consist of the microprocessors, and the computation or the arithmetical and logical operations will be done through this microcomputers, and they were very fast in giving the results, and because of this the computers of the 4th generations were very popular. To just show you where actually the microprocessor will be, so if you observe this, this entire circuit is nothing but the motherboard, where it consists of different slots and other things, and here we have the place for the microprocessor, and this is the socket and other things, and above that we have something called as the fan or the heat sink. No doubt we'll discuss about this in detail in the coming videos I will upload, where you will understand the different parts of the computers, but this is where actually the microprocessor is placed and on the motherboard. So if you observe by all these images, the entire size of the computer was totally reduced and it was portable. I mean, just on a table we can keep the computer, because all those electronic devices and other things that were required all were present on one single motherboard, and we could easily shift the computers from one place to another place, and they were very small in size. As we started using the microprocessor, entire social revolution took place, and we started calling the computers as personal computers. The reason behind calling the computers as personal computers, because the computers were very small in size and everyone could use it, and everyone can purchase the computers, and they were affordable and cheap basically. So we started calling them as the personal computers. And also we started using the floppy disks as a portable storage media. Like in these days we use the pen drives, okay, to connect to the computer or to connect to the laptop, and we can transfer the file from one place to another place by using the pen drive. So before having the pen drives in this generation, we had something called as floppy disks, where we could keep, or we could transfer the files from computer to the floppy disk, and again the files can be transferred from floppy disk to the another computers. So these were the earlier external devices, we can say. So this is what floppy disks, and almost their size was 5 KB. Now if you compare the pen drives, we are getting the pen drives in 64 GB and so on. Very large storage capacities, pen drives and DVDs and CDs we are getting now. But earlier to that, in the 4th generation, to transfer the files from one computer to another computer, we could use the floppy disks as the secondary storage devices. I mean, as the in fact external storage devices. And also the important thing that was started is the spread of high-speed computer networks. So let us understand in brief or in short what is the meaning of a network. So when we say if you consider 2 computers here, or 3 to 4 computers that are connected, and earlier to this the computers were separate, they were not connected from one to another. So when we connect 2 or more computers by using the different technology, like we can use the local area network or wide area network, and we call them as the network computers. That means we can share the resources, we can transfer the files from one computer to the another computer, or basically it was designed for the communication. Okay, so like we are using the internet now. So this concept was started in the 4th generation, where we could connect different computers, and we started the concept of networking, where we can share the files from one computer to another computer, and we can share the resources. So this was the major advancement that took place in the 4th generation of computers. Now when we come to the software technologies of the 4th generation, we had different operating systems like distributed operating system, real-time operating systems, and so on. And also we started using the operating system with graphical user interface, or we call it as the GUI. So let us understand the meaning of GUI in detail, or graphical user interface. So as you can see in this, So this is what we have in the graphical user interface in the earlier generation. Like today's computers or today's smartphones that we are using, that are also graphical user interface. That means to perform any tasks or to run any application, I can just use the mouse clicks, or I can use the menu based options. Like we can get the menus here, and just by clicking at this option, or just if I want to open a particular file, or if I want to open a particular document, if I just double click on this, it will get automatically opened. So this is what we call it as the graphical user interface. And also you will get a lot of icons. Okay, so like if you want to start the internet, so or the browser, this is the icon for the Internet Explorer. Similarly for files and directories, to search something. So all this, if you, for a normal user or for the beginner who wants to learn the computer, so if you have these icons, it will be easy for him to understand what actually is happening. But in the earlier days, before to this, they use the concept of the DOS operating system, or this MS DOS. So like Microsoft Disk Operating System, where to perform any task we need to give everything in terms of commands. Even today this exists, but we don't try to, we don't prefer using this because it takes a lot of time to do a simple task. Let us consider an example, the meaning of graphical user interface, or to give a just simple example. So suppose I want to create a folder, or I want to create a directory. What I will do, I will just click on right click, and if I go to new folder, and if I give a name, the folder will be created. And if I want to go back, I can just click on the back option, or all these things can be done very easily in the graphical user interface. Or if I want to just double click, I will go to this folder. If I click on this, I will go to BCA. So these are very simple tasks that I can do with the graphical user interface. But when it comes to the command prompt or command based operating system, where to create simple directory, what I have to do, I have to go to the directory. Suppose I want to go to in the F drive, so I need to type that, okay, where I need to go. So then I will be going to that particular directory, and there from here I need to create the directory. So for that I need to enter the command, okay, so like mkdir, and then I need to give the directory name like BCA. So like this, it takes lot of time to do that. So again, if I want to delete it in the normal graphical user interface, if I want to delete any directory, I can right click it, and if I click on delete, it will be automatically deleted. But whereas this, again I need to enter the command, and so on. So again I need to type a command rmdir to delete this. So it consumes lot of time in command based operating system. Having said that, this graphical user interface is very easy for the user, and we can easily interact with the computers. So this was the major advancement or the innovation that happened in the fourth generation of computers. And also object oriented design and programming languages like C++ and were started, and that helped the software industries to come up with different application softwares where we can use the computers for commercial purpose, and different organizations and everywhere we started using the computers. And also it led to the concept of supercomputers, or supercomputing was started. And basically the supercomputer is also a type of computer where which has, or which had large storage space, and its performance and everything will be very very high compared to the normal computers. Its RAM capacity, its storage capacity, everything will be much higher than the normal computers, and they are not used for the commercial purpose. So basically supercomputers are used in like in weather forecasting, and in mission critical systems, or like in aircrafts and organizations like NASA, and in research and development. So in R&Ds, so what we call, so all these computers are used in this for specific work, or most of the time it will be used in the scientific work. So these are the few terminologies that we need to remember when we discuss about the 4th generation computers. Now let us understand or let us discuss the characteristics of 4th generation computers. The first and foremost thing is the PCs were smaller and cheaper. So now we are not calling them as the computers or mini computers, because as we use the VLSI, and we could mount or we could club almost 30,000 small electronic components on a single silicon chip or in a single surface. We could design this processors, and the size of the computers was almost reduced, and they were smaller in size and they were cheaper than the mainframes and the mini computers of the 3rd generation. And obviously they consumed very less power than the 3rd generation computers. As you could see there, we don't have too much of wire connections and other things, and also the size is also reduced, and because of this the computers consume very less electricity. And then going on to the next, they were more reliable and less prone to hardware failures, requiring a negligible maintenance cost. Because we use the microprocessor and the capacity of this what you can say the processor's capacity and RAM capacity was increased, and because of that the computation was increased, and the we could do the calculations in microseconds or nanoseconds. So they were more reliable. I mean, if you want to give any task or if you give any instruction, computers can easily perform them, and we could depend on those results, and less prone to hardware failures. So we never used large components, so because of that maintenance was very less, or you can say negligible maintenance was required. Then in this, semiconductor memories replaced the magnetic coarse memories, resulting in faster and larger RAM. So as we have discussed, we have two types of storage devices. One is primary storage and secondary storage. So we usually the random access memory, we call it as the primary storage device, and they were made up of semiconductor memories, and because of that they were very faster, and because of that we could easily perform the task, and we could get the results in very less time. And one more important thing that we need to remember is they were general purpose machines. Like in the earlier days, the first, second generation computers or the 3rd generation computers, if you compare, they were not commercialized. They were used for only one particular purpose, and they could do small simple calculations. But these computers were we call them as the general purpose machines, because not only just doing the simple arithmetical calculations, they also perform different tasks, and because of that different organizations or different institutes started using them, and they could use the different softwares with the advancement in the high level programming languages. So everyone started purchasing the computers for their purpose, and even in homes and in offices they started using them. And next, commercial production of these computers was easier and cheaper, because in the earlier generation human was involved in connecting all different components, all these wires and other things, so it took a lot of time to just design one single computer. But in this case we use this VLSI technology, and the designing of circuit and microprocessor, it is not a man-made, it is machine-made. So we have different machines to design these circuits and to integrate these components. So the human labor was reduced, and cost involved in assembling, or to combining all these components and to design the circuits, we took very less time. Because of that we could produce more number of computers, and the production was increased, and because of that people started using them, and they were easily available in the market, and everyone could purchase them. And also, as we have discussed, graphical user interface enabled new users to quickly learn how to use computers. So if you have this GUI, I mean just like I'm using this mouse click or keyboards and other things, and if you have these icons and help options, so you can easily learn the computers. So because of that, everyone in most of the European countries, everyone started learning the computers, and everyone started using them. So because it was easy for the beginners to learn these computers with the help of the graphical user interface. Apart from this powerful tools, we developed the powerful tools like spreadsheets, where like for example today's a spreadsheet, if you consider like an Excel sheet where it consists of rows and columns, so like accounting calculations and inventory control, so all these were computerized, and we could avoid the, I mean we totally almost we avoided the using of pen and paper. Manual work was reduced, and we could do everything in a computer's way or computerized way. So that's why graphical user interface was more popular, and till today we always love to use the any device. If you take we want the graphical user interface. Going on to the next, standard high level programming language. So in the earlier days we had the C was more standardized than SI, but in this we had also come up with the next version of C, or you can say C++, where it had the concept of object-oriented programming. So where we can do the modularity and other things. So they were used for creating banking applications or banking softwares. We could easily design by using these high level programming languages, and also they were portable. Like if you write the program in one computer, same thing you can take it and you can execute in the another computer. So portability was maintained, or it was started more popularly in the fourth generation of computers. And the last important thing that we need to remember in this is the concept of internet was introduced in this generation, as we have discussed networking. So if you go one step ahead, when we say the internet, so it is collection of different networks. Like so when we say a LAN, local area network, basically this local area network is used where we have very small geographical region, like in a college or in an institute, where we can have 50 to 100 computers, or it is surrounded for only 500 meters. But if I want to communicate with one person sitting at Belgavi and another person sitting at somewhere Mumbai or some other Bangalore place, so we want the internet. So the concept of internet took birth, and we could easily send the information, or we could easily send the resources, and we can send the documents and other things. So internet was started. So because of that, it gave birth to the IT industry, where most of the things were done on the internet, and we could easily perform, or different people can work on one particular project, and we could share the information. And a few examples for this generation computers were IBM PC and Apple II and Cray X. So Cray X is basically a supercomputer. So let us view the images of this. So this was original Apple II, and then some modification happened to that, and these two are the Cray supercomputers. Cray X we can say, or they also had the different series like Cray 1, Cray 2 and so on. So these supercomputers are basically used in weather forecasting and scientific calculations, like NASA and other ISRO. So all this research and development, so all these different organizations started using supercomputers for special purposes. So these are some important characteristics of fourth generation of computers, and I have one suggestion. When you are writing in the examination, so you need to highlight these points. So that is why in this particular video I have highlighted them and underlined them. So this is how you need to explain, I mean and you need to highlight these points, like graphical user interface, or whenever you have some abbreviations. So all these points you need to highlight, and for all these generations you need to give one or two examples. So that's all we have in the today's class. I hope you all are following, and if you have any doubts you can get back to me or you can put it in the comment section. Thank you.